So hi everyone, I hope you're doing really well. Welcome to this episode, and if you're the first time you're here at the channel, I'm very welcome to the channel. We're all about the buy-to-let model and buy, refurbish, rent, refinance. And this is our most recent purchase, and we have purchases in 2022 despite it being a very hot market. I have done a previous episode where we talked about buying in a hot market. If you haven't seen that, see the iCard on screen. But we managed to purchase this through an estate agent. It's a lovely little 2-bed mid-terrace property, and this is the first reception room. Very well proportioned rooms, plenty of light, lots of space. Great for our little addition to our portfolio. Needs some work, of course, but more important than the work is the situation of the vendor, and that is exactly the previous episode we talked about. And as I show you around, we're going to talk about the situation of the vendor, to just give a bit more detail really, because we talked about in our previous episode the 3 things a vendor, if they have, and they all sort of stack up with each other. Just notice here the door on the left, there's an understairs, and I'll show you that in a second. If the vendor has these 3, meet these 3 criteria, the likelihood of you having a below market value or below average market value, as I like to call it, again, see the iCard on screen if you're not sure what I'm talking about in terms of BAMV. But the likelihood of getting a discounted wholesale price accepted is massively increased. So I'll talk about those things. Now just noting here, you also might have seen just in the second reception room there are some items around, and as you go upstairs you'll see a few more objects. It's not completely empty. Curtain, for instance, and I'll talk about that in a second. So here's the kitchen. And by the way, we're going to keep the carcasses, so don't assume everything has to go. Think what you can keep. The carcass is great. We are going to change the don't know what's going on with the ceiling. We are going to change the worktops, and we are going to change the layout slightly, and we are going to change the doors and the handles, the furniture. But the carcasses are good, so we're going to keep them. There's another angle of the second reception room, and I'm also going to show in a second. You'll see just above us is where there's been a leak that's come through from the bathroom. So there's the kitchen, and there's the garden that needs some TLC. It even comes complete with 3 Asda trolleys. I'm not sure what they're doing there, but you can see it needs some work. But more important than the work is the situation of the vendor. So here is a landlord. We came across this through a estate agent. It's a landlord that's selling it, and he's owned it for a long time. So that was already sort of a green light to us, in the sense that there's a likelihood of there's equity in the property. Here's that leak. You can sort of see it there. There's clearly water coming through. Keep your eye out for doing viewings, doing property inspections. Keep your eye out for water, particularly under bathrooms. About to cut the stairs. So this guy was a landlord, been a landlord for years, and it is when it came to market to be sold, it was about half the price of what it had been purchased for. So I was thinking to myself, well, there's equity in the property, sort of the first tick in the box. And I found out that actually what he wanted to do was sell, because he was in the process of redistributing his affairs, things to do with inheritance and wills and passing money around to different people. All legit as far as I know. It sounds a bit questionable. Again, more furniture in the rooms, more objects. I'll talk about that in a second. But he wanted the money, and he wanted to give it on to other people. So that was his situation, and he wanted to get out of the house to enable that to happen. And he had a deadline, and his deadline was as soon as possible. It wasn't like, the 1st of March or the 1st of April or the 1st of May. It wasn't a date. It was as soon as you can get the legals over the line, we want this done. So he had all 3 things. He had equity, he had a situation, and he had a deadline. He was working to a very tight timescale. And this brings on the point that, again, you'll see in this room, again, there's more furniture, just as I creep past. And you can see me in the mirror. There's more furniture, and we said, we can deal all that, no stress. Let us take care of that. The last thing you want is getting a man in the van and getting stuff in and access and trying to give keys, and we can sort all that. Here's our price, and let us take care of it. Let us help you out. You can deal with your personal situation. We can look after the rest of the house. All the refurb, the leak, the lot. Leave it to us. And our original offer was rejected, but we did come up a little bit. And while I was on the viewing, I said to the estate agent, what's it going to come to the market for? Because it wasn't even at this point on the market. And he gave me a figure, And from that figure, I can work out approximately what the lowest this guy is going to be accepting. So I had a figure in my mind, and I said, if I can raise this on the journey home, I might have an offer, a deal for you. So I sort of put a figure out there. I said it's not an offer, but I'm sort of around this mark. I'm going to make a phone call now to see if I can raise that much. Again, we've purchased them before, so they know exactly how we work. And what I did is I got in the car, and within 20 minutes, we had raised 90% of the purchase price through a private investor. And it was pretty much, the deal was signed up. Well, signed up. It wasn't signed up until it was signed up, but the deal was verbally agreed. In that car journey, I got home, crunched a few numbers. I did a few more things for the investor, and I said, look, we'd borrow this much. It needs to be the sort of terms I'd put in the contract for you. Are you happy? And he said yes. And this was purchased before it even came to the market. So there it is, a lovely 2-bed mid-terrace property. It needed work, but the situation from the vendor absolutely meant that the likelihood was getting a below market value offer accepted was likely, and it did. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found these things helpful. If you've got comments or questions, then please share them with us. We'll get back to you. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed and you'd like to join us, join the family, hit subscribe and hit the bell notification icon while you're there. Thank you all of you for your support. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.